Welcome back. So as you can see here, there's a bunch of ribs that are done now, and this is the majority of the ribs for the wings, and the ones for the Strakes aren't included in this. So there's probably a couple more in there, but anyway, this is the most of them, and they're all done, trimmed, and ready to be put in place once we have the wing skins laid up. And so now it's time to start laying up the Strake skins. So this is the first one of the lower skins, as you can see there, with the wheel well in place. And what Jeff's gone and done prior to this little bit of video is he's primed the inside of the mold. So it was obviously waxed in preparation, and then he just sprayed the white primer in there, and that's what you can sort of see there on the wheel well. And from there he starts laying up the carbon fiber in there, and then there'll be some core go down on the actual skin itself. And as you'll see here shortly, he's doing it in a two-stage process where it lays down, some of the carbon fiber first, and then the core, and then bags that and lets that cure overnight, and then goes with the next stage. And so this is now after having the first layers laid down, and the core has been laid in place, or at least most of the core is laid in place there. And there won't be any core on the actual wheel well there. That just needs to have extra layers laid up because it's going to have the ribs butting up against that, which is going to add extra rigidity. And just the fact that it's sort of cylindrical shape there, it kind of strengthens up the whole wing as well. And the very top surface of it there actually mates with the top surface of the Strake there, so it just even adds more structural stability. And you see Jeff's just trimming the last little bit of core there, and here you can see I've gone and bagged it, so basically put down peel ply on the carbon areas there, and a little bit of peel ply over the core there. It's not as necessary to have so much peel ply on there because it's not carbon fiber on there, and that'll just sort of peel back off when they're done. So basically bagging this, and this makes sure that the core gets pushed in nicely and gives Jeff a chance to sort of put a 45-degree angle on the edges of the core after it's cured up. Okay, so now this is this morning, and they've gone and taken the bag off there and the peel ply, and this is what's basically left now. So what remains to be done now is to lay the second layers of carbon fiber over the top of all that, which closes out the core and adds some extra I think they're going to add some extra structure there to the wheel well. Anyway, we'll see here in a minute. But yeah, just ready, prepped up now to do that. And for point of reference, here's the other one. So this is what it looks like when it's just been sprayed with the primer. And Jeff just puts a couple of layers of primer on there, a couple of coats of primer on there just with a spray gun. And so that gives you a nice finish on the actual part when it comes out, and it doesn't need to be sand or primer. There'll be no pinholes or anything like that. So back on the first one, here you can see he's adding another set of layers there over the wheel well, and of course he's already added the next layer down over where the core was, and so that ties everything together nicely and creates that whole carbon fiber foam carbon fiber sandwich, which is basically how all of the skins are done on the aircraft, which gives you that structural rigidity that you need. At the same time, keeping it lightweight, because that core that we're using there is only 1/4 inch thick foam core, so that doesn't weigh very much. And this particular skin doesn't have any hard points in it. There's nothing necessary at this stage for that, so it'll actually come out, it'll be fairly lightweight, which is kind of what you want with the wings. Some of the other parts of the aircraft are a little bit overweight right now because being a prototype, but room for improvement going forward. So with that all laid up, it's time to do the peel ply and the perf film and the breather fabric there. So that's all been done, and here just putting the bag back on again, and it's probably actually looks like he's using a new bag. Sometimes we get to reuse the bag, we just sort of peel it off to one side, and other times it's just more convenient just to use a new bag. And just for those who are following along closely, the bag is just basically comes off a roll. It's just one sheet, and you make a bag by actually sealing it against the double-sided tacky tape there. And here it is under vacuum, and as you can see, it's sort of drawing in nicely. And of course, Jeff, when he's laying this up, he needs to allow a lot of extra room in the bag and create a bunch of darts there which allow the bag to sort of draw in around all the different shapes. In this case, the wheel well, is a big sort of stick out kind of shape. So you have to sort of have a lot of looseness in the bag so it can pull down around all those different corners and into those different sort of nooks and crannies there. And as you can see, it looks like it's a nice tight bag there. And so that one will cure up now, and then be ready to pull all that stuff off and release it and trim it. So that's the first of the Strake skins, pretty much, I guess, in the bag is the word to use, or the phrase to use there. And meanwhile, back in Australia, my trip here is very quickly coming to an end. Anyway, this was on a hike I did the other day. It's kind of interesting little formation there. It looks like a lava tube if you look carefully and pause that. And this was a little visitor there to my mum's place. This is a parrot, I think, of some nature. Anyway, pretty friendly. You can actually feed them by hand if you have some bird seed there. So I think this is a king parrot is the one it is. And we managed to play around the golf with dodging all the kangaroos, as you can see here. 9 holes of golf, and it's been 20-something years since I played, so I wasn't doing very well, but it was all good fun. This is some friends and family members there, riding around on the golf carts and dodging the roos. And a couple more there in one of the sand traps or bunkers. They're just everywhere, and we actually hit, one of us actually hit one of them just gently with the ball when we were putting. And lastly, here's a little time lapse of sunset the other day, so I'll leave you with that. And there'll be one more video. I'll try and get it published before I jump on the plane on Saturday, and then next week we'll be back as normal. So that's a video for the first half of this week, and thanks again for watching.